those are usually the players that get those extra reps in. They want it more. And because of those extra reps that they get in before or after practice at home, they're just going to be a little more talented than other players that didn't get the same amount of reps.
Let's go. We started talking and Chase goes, just turn on the record button. Let's get into this. Hey, Chase. Welcome to the
What's
convo.
happening? What's up, Smashley? Happy to be here. Cheers.
I'm pumped to have you. Cheers. Are you drinking coffee as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's my
Much
best
needed.
dad ever mug.
Best dad ever?
Coffee.
Well, you are the best dad ever. Everything I see on Instagram, I'm like a huge fan of everything you're putting of Jagger. And what's your youngest name?
Jet.
Jet. I love it.
Jagger and Jet. They're beasts. They love using my workout equipment. Like, I'm not talking about weights and pushing stuff. I'm talking my hurdles, my cones, my resistance bands. Jagger likes putting the resistance bands on. He's gonna have some really strong glutes. Really strong glutes.
He also has a really strong swing. I just saw you. I think, what do? You like from behind him, just kind of put him through the motion, and now he's just like this epic hitter.
I did that from time to time. There are a lot of different things that I did. It's fun. It was fun for me, right? Like, you have this little tiny human being who hasn't swung a bat yet. It's like, okay, if somebody was going to teach me how to swing from the very beginning, how would I want to have been taught? What do I think would stick the most? And I feel like when you're that young, you can't talk yet, right? They don't have the vocabulary to be able to catch on to what I'm trying to say and explain how you hold on your backside and that your weight's supposed to be distributed in a certain way.
Right.
So I literally just get behind him and I keep his feet grounded and spread with the right comfortable distance for him, his feet spread apart. And I just make sure when I'm holding his hand that he feels his elbow leading. And so he feels like he's pulling the bat through. So he just feel the right way to swing, just in general, so that just to ingrain the feeling, right? They can't communicate with language, but when it comes to feeling something, they can feel it and then try to repeat it. That's what I did over and over again when they were younger.
I love that. I love that. It's all feel at that age, it seems like. And for anybody that's listening to the podcast and they're like trying to figure out what the heck you were just moving in your chair and doing, this will be up on YouTube once this airs. So if anybody wants to see how you work with Jagger and his swing, I'm a huge fan. So I just need to take notes because who knows, I might have little mini me's running around here in a few years. So I need to be prepared.
Yeah. And they're going to be great hitters. They'll be great hitters.
They better be. Actually, no, they're going to be great at whatever they choose.
Better be.
They're going to be great at whatever they choose to do. But if mom has a tee and balls laying around, I'm sure they're going to pick it up and start using it. Yeah. You want them to love it. And I think I don't see you doing this. So some parents, if you get really pushy, right, to the point to where the kids don't want to do it anymore. Right.
And so I've always been very cognizant of that. Like, whenever he's like, I don't want to do it anymore, if he just runs to do something else, I don't force him to stay and work on it, because I want him to love it. And I want him to drag me out there like, Dad, throw me some balls. I'm like, okay, I'll do it.
That's got to be the best feeling when he asks you to go play.
Yeah, it is. And I never say no.
Oh yeah. I could never see you saying no. I love that. Didn't he just go watch his uncle play recently? That's
right. Yep. We've been going to yesterday, 2 days ago, he went to the Dodger game. Well, Braves-Dodgers game. And it was the day that they lost. It's just too bad. That's okay. All right. Can't win all the games, but it was 2-0. Jagger had a great time. So did Jet. Caitlin, I felt bad for Caitlin. Caitlin, my wife, she's we're 5 months along. She's pregnant, due in February, and the boys just wanted to sit on her lap constantly. They didn't want to sit on Dad's lap. They wanted to sit on Mom's lap during the game. So, got to give her some credit for withstanding all of that.
Well, congrats to you guys. I didn't know you were expecting again. That's awesome.
Yep, another boy due in February. Woo.
You ready? You ready to have another?
Yeah, the first two have prepared us.
I was gonna say, I think you have it figured out at this point.
Yeah, we're just outnumbered now.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Well, before we dive too far into base running, which is why I called you up and said, hey, let's talk about this. I want to know about just a little bit of your journey through the game. It doesn't have to be like a super long spiel, but I really love hearing from your perspective where baseball started coming into play for you, where it led you, and now where you're at.
Baseball came into play when I was like 4 years old when my dad first bought my little Tykes plastic tee and bat. We played in my front yard, and his goal was to coach his two boys in Little League, which he eventually did. Travis and I, when we were 12 and 10 years old, our dad was one of our coaches. And that was a really special time. One of the last times that Travis and I got to play together, aside from in pro ball when we were on the all-star team together, it was something that we just loved doing. And our dad did a great job of making us look forward to the games, right? Like every time we left a game or on the way to a game, on the way to practice, from practice, there was a lot of positivity in the car. Like, oh man, I love the way you do this. Oh, when your hands roll over. He's like, I love it when your hands roll over like that. Even though now, as a like ex-professional ball player, like I know that you probably don't want to roll this early in the game, but he still got us hyped up. He was our hype man. He was our hype man, and he helped fill us up with confidence. So we were able to go out there without being insecure and just have fun and leave it all out there on the field. We also had some amazing coaches growing up, Travis and I. Let's see, it got more serious in high school. My sophomore, junior year got a lot more serious. That's when scouts came into the picture, and I started getting attention from colleges, and I started to think to myself, wow, I guess I'm better than I thought. I didn't realize I was that good. And what an amazing opportunity to attend a prestigious school, and have baseball pave the way for my future and possibly even play professional baseball. I ended up getting drafted by the Dodgers out of high school, went to college, anyways, Pepperdine. And then 3 years after that, I got drafted by the Pittsburgh Pirates in the 4th round. 3 years after that, I got called up. So in 2011, I made my debut at PNC Park against the Red Sox. John Lester was on the mound. Manny Ramirez was on the left, had Pedroia, Euclid. We had the whole gang, Big Papi, was the OG Red Sox. So it was quite an experience. But to make a long story short, I ended up playing until 2019, and ended up playing with 6 teams total. So the Pirates, the Phillies, the Braves, the Red Sox, the Padres, and the Giants, in that order. Now I'm 2 years removed from pro ball, spending a lot of time with my kids, and now I do speed training. I felt like there was a huge hole. I felt like there was a huge hole.
It's huge.
Like,
it's a massive.
There are plenty of
hole.
Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't you hit a triple in that game that you were just mentioning though, before you kept going?
Yeah, my first hit was a triple. My debut.
Yeah, don't forget
triple
about that
left.
Part. That's significant.
I shouldn't. You're right. It's significant. And so significant is that, Manny Ramirez wasn't left. I just loved watching that guy play. He had his own style, so different from everybody else's at the time. I feel like he would really fit in now. Right? He's kind of a pioneer of this style, and the way that he celebrated his home runs and his swagger, the big baggy pants. I mean, he was a pioneer in that sense.
Did you dream of playing pro ball when you were younger, or was that just kind of a really cool thing that started to develop once you started seeing scouts watching you?
Occasionally I would. Neither of us were obsessed with it. It was just something that we did all the time. I mean, introspectively, we played a lot. Like, it was just something that we loved doing. And we watched some big league games too. On TBS, we'd always watch the Braves play. So it was great when I got to play for the Braves. Now watching Travis play with the Braves in playoffs is so special, right? And that's America's team because of all the games that were just being aired on TBS. So many people that I talked to were watching the Braves and knew that team in and out. So we'd watch the Braves games a lot, and we'd play baseball in our front yard. And when we ran out of baseballs, we would get tape paper, crumple it up and get the duct tape, throw it up there, and then we'd play for an hour, go inside, drink some milk, and then roll back outside.
Drink some milk. I love that.
We did that a lot.
Yeah.
All through Little League and Pony, we were playing a lot of baseball together. But yeah, once we got into high school and things got more serious, when I went to Pepperdine, that's when your eyes open up. It's like, whoa, there's a tremendous opportunity here, and let's work hard, put our heads down, and have that tunnel vision.
Yeah, that reminds me of when I used to play in my front yard with my sisters. We literally made up some sort of. It was like we built a diamond, but we built rules around it that had nothing to do with actually like softball. but it was like we could pellet. I think we used like a wiffle ball, and we just like chuck it at each other. Like it was it was kind of brutal, but I just remember after dinner we'd be like, okay, let's go play. Like this was just like our thing. And like we didn't work on fundamentals. It was just like, I'm going to beat you and this is how I'm going to do it. And it was amazing. There's something to that, I think, to develop just the joy of just being around the game or things similar to it, to just bring
all the better
that fuel.
players do it. I notice it in my speed groups right away. Like it's interesting being on this side of things. I'm so used to being a player, training and having a trainer, but now helping these guys understand how to use their bodies the right way to maximize their angles and force and direction into the ground, what position to get their bodies in so they can maximize that force production into the ground. Like the players, regardless if they're really athletic or not, it's the ones that get those extra reps in at home on their own, or even in between sets, because it's pretty tiring when I do the speed development sessions. And so after they do one drill or one movement that they didn't quite get the first time, it's the guys that are obsessed with it and it bothers them that they can't get it. So they keep doing it on the way back to the start line. I can see them working on it. And then you have other players that just kind of walk back and might be a little discouraged because they couldn't get this very difficult movement to get right. But the players that come early, bring their baseball gloves, they're playing catch with each other before our speed sessions. Like those are usually the players that get those extra reps in. They want it more. And because of those extra reps that they get in before or after practice at home, they're just going to be a little more talented than other players that didn't get the same amount of reps.
Right.
It makes sense.
That's so cool that you have created this environment for athletes to just be around the game and want to be good at base running. I'm curious, where did your love for base running start? I have my own story, but I'm interested in yours.
My junior year of college, Coach Steve Rodriguez, who's now the head coach over at Baylor, he was our head coach at Pepperdine at the time, and he brought in a trainer named Woody Cliffords from Sports West Performance. That's the name of his company. And Woody at the time was playing minor league baseball still, but he had trained with very talented trainer, Marcus Elliott, his name P3 over in Santa Barbara. But Woody was not an ordinary trainer. Like he was really well versed in how to get you bigger and stronger, but also faster. Like speed technique, he was really well versed in. So twice a week we'd go out and focus on our sprint technique and running mechanics. And I learned quickly after working with him just how much wasted motion I had in my run. I didn't realize it was holding me back. I was always a 7 to 7.2 60-yard runner in high school and college. Like when I went to workouts, I looked at myself like an average shortstop. When it came to speed, I was like average on my team for a middle infielder, where other guys, like outfielders, some infielders were running 6'5", 6'6", 6'4". I saw Justin Upton run a 6'2" when Cameron Maven ran a 6'2". I'm like, gosh, wow, that would be nice to be fast. That'd be so nice. They must just have that natural speed. Right. But then after working with Woody for 3 months, right, and learning these really, intricate drills where you have to be very technique strong, I learned how to use my body the right way and became stronger in the right areas. And I gained more hip flexibility and ankle mobility. And after putting those 3 months in, I went from running a 7'1", 60-yard dash to 6'4", like consistently, like laser time.
In that much time.
Holy crap. So it just goes to show, if you're really athletic and you have that springiness and explosiveness, you can have huge gains. And even if you're a below average runner, you can go from being below average to average, or even average to a little above average. It's how much time do you put into it? How determined are you, right? And having the right attitude. Too many people get discouraged because these movements are difficult, right? We're talking like A skips, B skips. Top speed mechanics are so counterintuitive. Like unless you've actually studied sprint technique and running mechanics, chances are your mechanics aren't that great and they're flawed, and you could perfect them to make yourself faster. I'm not stepping on anybody's toes as a speed trainer, right? I'm not like, if a athlete wants to talk to me about hitting, I'm happy to talk to him about hitting. I'm happy to talk about defense, but I like creating these relationships with coaches around the area and fusing myself into the baseball community without trying to change a bunch of athletes' swings or running mechanics, throwing mechanics. Like my job, I just enjoy getting these guys faster. And most coaches say, hey, I got some kids, I want to get faster, here, call Chase. It's nice being able to meet players from different schools, travel teams, etc. It's a lot of fun, and my guys are getting quicker, right? Most of them on average after 12 to 14 weeks are dropping half a second from their 60-yard dash time, which is significant. And some of them more, some of them a little less, but all of them have gotten faster, every single one of them.
Yeah. And it's the kids, like you were saying, that are making the most of every rep and going home and trying to perfect that mechanic or that drill. Those are the ones probably gaining the most speed. I'm really curious as to what are your signature drills that you're teaching right now? I mean, obviously you probably start with things like A skips and that, but what are some like everyday things that you're working on with your athletes, no matter what?
Mobility, like hip mobility, ankle mobility. I think it's important to have superior mobility, especially in your hips, so that you can maximize your strike length. A lot of people don't realize that. I'm a big fan of wall drives. Like after we do our mobilities and all of our stretching, we do wall drives. And a wall drive, essentially, some people call them exchanges, where you lean up against the wall at a nice angle like this, and your hands are up against the wall, and your feet are literally changing places like this. And you have to make sure that you maintain the right hip mobility. Sorry, not hip mobility, your knee drive. Right, your knees have to get up. I look for dorsiflexion to make sure that their ankles are cocked like this. So this is what I'm wearing in my garage office right now. But a lot of people don't realize that we're not running on our toes. Right, too many people are taught you run on your toes, you hit on your toes. Like, that's wrong too. You actually run on the midfoot. Right, you want to make sure that your ankle stays. You maintain dorsiflexion all the way down to when you hit the ground, so that once you hit the ground, you're just firing. Right? If you're running on your toes, you have a weak ankle, you hit the ground, and then your foot has to go down, and then you're finally running off of it. So there are a lot of little things that little bad habits that need to be broken, and it takes time to change those motor patterns. So the hip mobility, ankle mobility, glute strength, glute and core strength. I mean, if you have a loose and weak core, you're not going to be able to maximize your power output. So mobility,
especially for your posture.
Glute strength, core strength, and exchanges are huge for me. And acceleration drills, I mean, they're great acceleration drills out there. I mean, I could go on and on. You could do your falling starts, your ground starts, but one of my favorite things to do is to set up high hurdles and have guys like this.
YouTube is getting a show right now. I'm all over it.
They're high hurdles, and then they run into a sprint. Then they go right into a sprint, and I like that because
opposite direction.
From a side, well, once you're getting your feet going up right here. Right. Once they're going over these high hurdles, and I tell them I want them to run a quick burst 10 yards in that direction. Immediately after they're done with that, your body gets used to driving your knees to your hip height, and so when you start taking off in this direction, your body's naturally going to have a higher knee drive out, so they can understand that it leads to more force production.
I love this. Change of direction it's so important. And I think when people think base running, they always think, oh, I'm thinking linear. But no, like when you lead off the bag, you're sideways, and you have to be able to go into literally the opposite direction as fast as you can. And when you're playing, and doing this is also helping you be a better defender. It's helping you become a better hitter, believe it or not, simply by knowing how to change direction. Like, people are like, oh my gosh, my home to first is so slow. Well, how much are you focusing on your first step out of the box? Probably 0. And like, first step, change of direction. These are all different things that incorporate a quick, fast athlete, but that's not just for base running, like, sure, I'll probably call this episode base running, but just being fast, I still think it's like the most ultimate separator. For any athlete. What would you say to somebody who says, well, I'm not fast, it's for other people, I don't think I could become fast? What would you say to that person?
That's just the wrong attitude. It's the wrong mentality. It's just wrong. I mean, I have players that were running over an 8 60-yard dash. I mean, I know in softball, you guys probably don't run a 60-yard dash time, but over an 8's pretty slow if you're in high school. And I had a player that ran an 8 go to a 7.3. And so he went from, is a pitcher, too, but not even somebody that's going to utilize his speed on the bases, but he gained 10 miles per hour on his fastball. Isn't that insane?
That is
Because he
insane.
learned how to use
I'm
his
not
body
surprised.
right.
Right. I'm not surprised at all.
You become a lot more coordinated and explosive through this. There's so many gains. It's not just about speed. It's also just your overall athletic ability, your drive, that first step. I mean, we focus on acceleration a lot. And like I said, in baseball, colleges and professional teams want to know how fast you run your 60-yard dash time, which is weird because very rarely do we reach maximum velocity, like top speed, on a baseball field or softball field. Like, so I focus more on acceleration than top speed, especially at the beginning of my program. Acceleration is so important. I mean, we're accelerating out of the box. When you burst towards the ball in the direction the ball's hit, you're using it in all other sports too. If you're a multi-sport athlete, acceleration is huge. And all the little intricacies that go hand in hand to maximize your acceleration are so beneficial. Just on like, yeah, if somebody were to say that to me, I would say, look, like, you could be faster. And it's the kind of thing where once you work on it and you become quicker and you know what it takes to be faster and you know proper mechanics, you take it with you, right? You're not continually working on it for your whole career. Once you understand it and have that flexibility and develop your muscles right, it's something that you will just have the rest of your career. It's not like hitting or pitching where you have to continually have lessons to get better and maintain.
Yeah, I'm huge at that. One thing that I like to do to keep base running fun, or just speed work fun, is like have somebody chase you. Like maybe they're like 2 steps behind you and you both have to go at the same time. And that simple knowing that somebody could go tap you, it's like that urgency to help you with your speed. That was something that I started speed training when I was in high school. It was my junior year. I started lifting, speed training. And that's when I was first blown away by like how somebody lengthy who I thought was like average, kind of like you said you were average. I started sprinting and learning how to run. And all of a sudden they were like, are you sure you don't want to become like a track runner? Simply because of like the amount of speed, but acceleration that I was creating within like the first few months of being there. They were like, are you sure you don't want to run track? And I'm like, no, I'm dead sure. Like, I just want to be a good softball player, you know, like at that point. And it's one of my favorite days. We're always like once a week, we just do like these challenges where somebody would be 2 steps behind you. You have to go at the same time. And like your job is to not get tapped. And if you get tapped, you get like 5 burpees or something. How important do you think running with like that urgency is to help you gain speed?
It's great. I mean, I think it replicates what it feels like in a game, right? In a game, you might not have somebody chasing you, but you have a ball that you hit and you're trying to beat the ball to first base. You're trying to beat the defender. So I think it's great. I love that. And I like incorporating games like that towards the end, especially if I'm working with a younger group of players to keep it fun.
Right.
A lot of my older players that are in high school and college, I like to just have them race towards the end. I take the guys and try to create some even matches. But yeah, at the younger levels, we have a few different games that I play to have them chase each other. It's great.
Yeah,
it's good.
It's really fun. Well, crazy enough, we only have a few minutes left, so I want to be very conscious of your time. And before I ask you, I'm going to finish with like 5 to thrive is what I call it, the 5 rapid fire questions. Before I ask you those questions, if somebody right now is listening and saying, okay, this is great, but like, where do I start? Where can they go other than your Instagram page? Because you're doing a great job there.
There are so many good accounts out there. Like if they type in sprint technique, speed development on YouTube or Google, you're going to find some good stuff in there that'll help you out. I'm a big fan of Overtime Athletes. There's a speed coach from TCU that works with their baseball team who puts out some amazing content as well. I would just really just dive in and look online and find stuff. Like you'll find it. It doesn't replace having a trainer that's there with you, but you'll get the information. Like what's great, like with me, I feel like this is such an amazing tool, right? Like these phones, I could record my guys in 60 frames per second on their starts right in front of them and give them instant feedback and give them my take. They have my eyes and I can say, look, you could do a better job of this right here. This is what I want you to feel the next rep when you do this. You get your elbows going, right? You make sure you're breaking that halfway point, because a lot of people get caught up right here and they use the bicep instead of getting out here with it. Like it's nice to be able to be there, and show them those things.
Mhm.
Video feedback is great. And if somebody is not getting that video feedback, they're not gonna get that. Their body awareness isn't going to go up as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
makes sense. It's kind of like dancers have a mirror in front of them, right?
Mhm.
And you develop that body awareness with what you're doing. It's the same thing. So I'm there to capture things on video and give them feedback. And I could also demonstrate things.
Good deal. Where can they find you? What's your handle?
Chase Darno. Yeah, my Instagram is Chase Darno. I have a TikTok account that I put even more educational content. It's Chase_Darno. I have a YouTube channel that I haven't used a whole lot. Chase Darno also. So everything is just really just labeled as Chase Darno.
I love it. I'll put that in the show
sprint
notes.
Technique. Yeah, if somebody's in Southern California and they want to work with me, they could just go to chasedarno.com/training, and that'll take them right to my speed development program.
Perfect. Well, there's so much that I wanted to pick your brain about, and I feel like we just scratched the surface. So we're going to have you back on. I'm going to ask you these 5 questions. Let's make it quick. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Who's your favorite base runner in the league right now?
I mean, Trey Turner is the best base runner right now. I mean, everybody would say him. There's some other great base runners as well. But yeah, Trey Turner, I think, is the best base runner right now. He has good feel. He knows when he's out or not after the first step. The ability to get that first move and start stealing second and to break it down and stop when you know you don't have it because of a slide step or you read pitch out. I mean, that's an art. And I think he does a great job of that. It
is an art. And it probably took him hundreds of years to create. That was an exaggeration, clearly. What's your proudest dad moment? I want to know.
Oh, my proudest dad moment.
Recent. How about like it's a recent one that comes to mind?
Hey, Jagger was in T-ball. He was 3 years old. He's youngest on his team. And there's this one time I fed him a ball. I pitched to the team. And he hit a line drive just right in my chest. I couldn't even get out of the way of it.
I think I saw this. Did you post it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, my God.
My wife happened to capture it. Yeah.
Oh, that's incredible. Mm-hmm. I love that. I love that. Do you have a favorite sports movie that you like to watch?
Major League.
I was going to say, you're a big film guy.
Love Major League. Love Major League. That movie with Willie Mays Hayes. It was great. I loved it.
That's
Charlie
amazing.
Sheen was in that. It's a good baseball movie.
It is a good baseball movie.
I like comedies.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. What's your favorite drill that you teach your base runners?
My favorite drill.
Your speed. I shouldn't say base runners. Your athletes.
That's a tough one because it really depends on the guy. Like everybody has different deficiencies.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I know my guys love resistance running. They love resistance running. I have this pulley system where I can manipulate the amount of resistance that a guy leaves us. So they strap it around their waist. I attach it to a pole, and then they dart in that direction, and so clean and smooth. It's called an exogeny band. But resistance running is probably one of my favorite things to do with my guys, and they love doing it.
These answers are just making me want to go run right now. Go sprint.
Oh, really?
I used to do all of these things. I know. My coffee's kicking in. But before I ask this final question, I just want to thank you. We're already over time by like 60 seconds.
That's okay. I'll make it.
But having you on was something that I should have had you on forever ago. But I'm just so excited to talk about that one thing that, it's not really talked about much, but you're crushing it on your end, and you're really helping athletes understand like how to use their bodies and be fast. And again, find that biggest separator, in my opinion. So keep doing what you're doing. I love it.
Anything to get an edge. If you want to be better, like why wouldn't you focus on your speed? It's one of the 5 tools.
Totally. 100%. Last question I want to ask is, what legacy do you want to leave on the game?
That's a great question. I do some content. Like I know that content, once you put it out, it lives forever. And I like that you could reach the masses with it and help somebody that might not have the resources or live somewhere where they're not near coaches. But I just want to leave a positive impact and to be able to help a ton of people. And that's why I like content, because I feel like if I have a conversation with a mental skills coach with San Francisco Giants, like Kellen Lee, like we were talking about earlier, I can take his words, his credibility, and draw the information out that he is willingly sharing to help somebody that lives in Iowa. You're like, wow, I never thought about that. I'm putting way too much pressure on myself. So like years later, and this happens, like I've had fans, like baseball fans that may have met me in 2011, 12, 13, that come up to me like, hey, and they're like adults now, like, hey, when I was a kid, you brought me onto the field and I stretched with you in center, and it was, I'll never forget it. It made my year. I told all my friends about it. Like I love being that light in people's lives. But also, I don't know. I don't have the answer to that yet because it's evolving. I'm 2 years out of playing, and I'm still trying to figure out exactly what my path is going to be. And I don't know exactly what it looks like, which is kind of frightening.
Well, I
I'm
don't
so
think
used to being
anybody
a player.
knows. I know. And you and I have bonded over the fact that we really miss it. We miss playing, and we're trying to figure out what our light is outside of the game. But I truly believe you're kicking butt with everything you're doing. I'm going to have to definitely post the video that we did together in California, because that was just too much fun. But, you know, I didn't even know you had a TikTok until now, but I'm sure it's amazing content. So anybody listening, go check out Chase. You're doing great things in the game, man.
I appreciate it.
Pump for you.
Thanks, Smash. Thanks,
All right.
Smash.
Thanks for coming on.
Appreciate you. Yeah.